Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Football 11 24/7. My loyal subscribers, all 25 of them. No. Anyway, well, look, it's Football 11 24/7. I'm your host, Jamie Carter. We're going to do a review of all the weekend's action from the Premier League through to League Two. Obviously, as always, we'll start in the Premier League. There's two games today. It's Sunday, the 30th of October, day before Halloween. There's two games going to be on today. One is my boys, Forest, up against Arsenal. Now, looking at predictions, a lot of people are saying 2-0, 3-1, that kind of thing to Arsenal, obviously. I did a mad one today. I think 1-0, maybe Forest, as a crazy bet. But realistically, I think it will be 3-1 to Arsenal. So I don't like to back against my own team, but I think 3-1 Arsenal. Yeah, and then there's another game today, Manchester United against West Ham United. And I've gone for Manchester United to win that one 3-1 as well. So I'm thinking both of them to be 3-1. I think the teams that they're playing have both got a chance of getting a goal. I just think that they're obviously Man United and Arsenal are too powerful for those teams. I think overall the players are a lot better. So that's my predictions for today's games. But going into the games that have already been played on Saturday, all the games on Saturday, there was a lot of games on actually. There was 8 games on in the Premier League this Saturday, which is quite unusual. Normally you get about 6 these days, especially after European competition. So, but we'll go into the first one. The first one, Bournemouth against Tottenham. Excuse me, Bournemouth took an 2-goal lead. They were 1-0 up at half-time thanks to a goal through Keith Moore. They then went 2-0 up when Keith Moore got a brilliant bullet header from a cross from Tavernier. And then, from Cook even. And then Tottenham did a staged a late fight back in the second half. Ryan Sessegnon got through, put the ball past their goalkeeper, Mark Travers. Then Davis got a bullet header. And then right near the end on the 92nd minute, Bentancur, a substitute for Spurs, scored on the 92nd minute. And he scored just from hooking it in from a corner. There was a bit of a melee and he got his foot around it. So Spurs come back from 2-0 down to win 3-2. Brentford was up against Wolves. Wolves obviously have a bad start to the season. They're currently in the relegation zone. They went 1-0 behind thanks to a falling volley from Ben Mee in the box from Brentford. But Neves scored an absolute screamer from about 20-odd yards, as he normally does, to equalise literally 2 minutes later in that game. So that game finished 1-1. And then we had Brighton up against Chelsea. Now, Brighton's former manager is obviously now the Chelsea manager, Graham Potter, and he was coming into that game hoping that his side would build on the good performances. They were undefeated under him in every competition, but there was an absolute shock on the cards in this game as Brighton raced into a 3-goal lead thanks to early goal from Trossard on 5 minutes, an own goal from Loftus-Cheek on 14, an own goal by Chalobah on 42. It was almost like Graham Potter told Chelsea to give him the goals, but they were 3-0 up anyway. Havertz looked like there was going to start a Chelsea fight back in the second half when he scored on the 48th minute, but it didn't prove to be. And at the end, Pascal Gross got a goal to wrap things up and caused probably one of the biggest shocks of the season so far. Well, I say one of the biggest shocks, but there was another one this weekend as well. So yeah, Brighton beat Chelsea 4-1, which is absolutely insane. That's the first win for Acerbi, the new Brighton manager, I believe in 5 games since he's been in charge. So yeah, very, very great result for Brighton, and that kept Brighton in the top half. Brighton are now sitting in 8th position. They dropped a bit because they had about 4 or 5 games where they weren't winning, where they didn't win anything. So yeah, so that was a massive, massive shock of the weekend. I'd probably say it was nearly the biggest shock, but then we'll go for maybe a slightly bigger one when we look into the late evening kickoff, which was Liverpool against Leeds United. Now, Liverpool had a shock defeat against my boys, bottom of the table Forest, 1-0 the previous week, but they'd won 3-0 in midweek away at Ajax, which was a great result for them. But they went back into self-destruct mode again, like they have done a bit in the Premier League this season. A bad back pass from Joe Gomez played a blind back pass to the goalkeeper Alisson for Liverpool. He misread it. Rodrigo ran in and basically got an early lead for Leeds United after 4 minutes. Now, Leeds were under pressure. Obviously, they were near the relegation. I think they were sitting in the relegation zone at the start of the day of that game. And there was a lot of boos in the previous performance where they'd lost 3-2 at home to Fulham the following weekend. But like I said, they took an early lead. But then Mo Salah got a goal back, and literally 10 minutes later, and you thought, here we go, Liverpool's going to cruise it, maybe win 3-4-1. Didn't prove to be the case. Liverpool had so many shots there. I think they had about 5 or 6 shots where Meslier, the keeper for Leeds, pulled off some absolutely fantastic saves to keep Leeds in the game. And right near the end, it was a bit of a fairy tale day, really, for Somerville, a young lad who's only just turned 21 on that night yesterday, and he got the winner on the 89th minute. There was 5 minutes of injury time, but Leeds managed to hold out for a famous victory. And I believe that's one of only 2 defeats that Liverpool have had in the last couple of years at home. So fantastic result for Leeds. Took them outside of the relegation zone, pushed them up into 15th place, but they're still only 1 point clear of the relegation zone. But a great win, a famous win really for Leeds there. Leicester City against Manchester City. Manchester City, goal from Kevin De Bruyne settled it from a free kick on the 49th minute. Man City go top of the league. Obviously, Arsenal will overtake them by 2 points if they beat Forest today. Crystal Palace was playing against Southampton. Crystal Palace continue their good run of results at home. This is their 3rd win on the bounce at home. They beat Southampton 1-0 thanks to a goal from Edouard. He'd had a goal disallowed for offside earlier before that one, and then he got that one as well. So, yeah, good result for Palace. Fulham, another evening kick-off on Saturday. They were at home to Everton. Everton had come off the back of a great 3-0 win at home to Crystal Palace the following weekend. And thanks to Jordan Pickford and some really great saves, Everton managed to come away with a 0-0 draw. But Fulham had so many chances in that game. I watched it and it was insane. But there we go. That was that. So that was 0-0. Fulham 0. Fulham 0. Everton 0. And then Newcastle continued to go from strength to strength. Newcastle continued to stay in the 4th position, although that could change today. It won't change today, actually. I'm talking rubbish. It won't change today. Newcastle will continue to stay there even if Manchester United win today. So, yeah, looking at the games, because of Chelsea losing 4-1 at Brighton, Newcastle's 4-0 win against Aston Villa kept them in 4th place, and they'll still be there by the end of this weekend. So, 2 goals from Wilson, 1 from a penalty, and just another normal goal there. And then Joe Linton scored, and Almiron continues to defy the logic. He's scored 7 goals now this season. It's got to be down to Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish mocking Mahrez last season, saying that he was going to do an Almiron, and now Almiron's playing way better football than Grealish is. So Grealish is continuing to eat his words after that. So sometimes you should just not be too cocky, do you know what I mean? When you're doing well, you should just keep it quiet and then wait till you retire to be cocky. But there we go. Newcastle are doing absolutely fantastic. My brother will be loving it. It's unfortunate. It seems to be following the same pattern as the 90s for me. There's my team at the bottom of the Premier League, and then there's my brother's team absolutely caning it in the top 4 or 5, the usual. So a little bit gutted there, but I still feel Forest. It will be tough from this weekend against Arsenal, but I still think Forest will avoid the drop. And people will think I'm biased for saying it, but I've just seen enough in the last few games to suggest that we're going to defend a lot better, and especially against the teams that are down the lower end of the table, and we're going to pick up those old 1-0, 2-1 results that are going to keep us in the league. So that's what I think anyway. But that's the review of the weekend. Haaland continues to be the top goal scorer with 17 goals. Harry Kane didn't score on Saturday, so he's still 7 goals behind in second with 10 goals. Mitrovic didn't score at the weekend, but he's still 3rd in the Premier League goal scoring charts with 9. So so that's what's going on in the Premier League. Top of the table, Manchester City, then Arsenal, then Tottenham and Newcastle. But obviously, if Arsenal win today, like I say, against Forest, which on paper they should do, they'll go back to being 2 points clear at the top. So we'll see what happens anyway. It'll be an interesting day of football. But we're going to jump now into the Championship. There was 2 early kickoffs in the Championship. Bristol City against Swansea. There's not too much distance between those 2 teams. I think it's something like 60 or 70 odd miles, something like that. Might be more than that. But that finished in a 1-1 draw. early goal from Conway, the youth academy product for Bristol City, but Nigel got a goal back in the second half in the 76th minute to make that a 1-1 draw. Burnley came from 1-0 behind at home to Reading to win 2-1. Ince had put them in charge early in the second half, but goals from Benson and Zaroury for Burnley allowed them to get a 2-1 victory, which keeps them top of the Championship. Then looking at other teams around there, Blackburn, it continues to be a battle between the two fierce Lancashire rivals. Blackburn won 1-0 away at Hull, thanks to Sammy Smodix, who'd come in from, I believe he was playing for Peterborough last season. So that keeps Blackburn literally, I think it's 2 points behind their rivals. 2 points behind their rivals, Burnley. So they occupy the first and second place. Looking at the other games, QPR had lost 2-0 against Birmingham, who continue to have a good little run going at the moment. Birmingham in the top half of the table now, thanks to their 2-0 win. Goals from Trusty and Longillo. Birmingham, I think, are having new people taking over there, so that'll be interesting to see what happens with a takeover. Looking at other results, Coventry lost 2-1 at home to Blackpool. They went 1-0 up against Blackpool, but goals from Medina and Yates. Jerry Yates is on fire at the moment. He's the top goal scorer now in the Championship with 9 goals. I believe he's scored something crazy like 6 or 7 goals in the last 4 games, so he's absolutely on fire. So, yeah, Blackpool got a great result there, but that still keeps them around sort of 14th place, I believe. Cardiff got a win to ease their worries on, push them a bit further away from the relegation zone, winning 1-0 against Rotherham thanks to a goal from Pelagian Bedence. I can't even pronounce his name properly, but so they won 1-0. Huddersfield got a much-needed win, but they continue to stay in the drop zone. They won 1-0 at home to Millwall. And Luton drew 1-1 with Sunderland after taking the lead. Norwich got a customary win like they normally do at home, beating Stoke City 3-1. Preston won 2-1 against Middlesbrough. Michael Carrick in charge, the former Man United players in his first game in charge for Middlesbrough. They took an early lead on 8 minutes from Atpom, but it wasn't enough. Preston came back and won that 1-2-1. The other early kick-off in the day was Sheffield United away at West Brom. West Brom continue to do really badly this season. They started off as one of the favourites to go up, but they're rock bottom now of the Championship after losing 2-0 at home. Goals from Ndiaye and McBurney for Sheffield United, which keeps Sheffield United in the playoffs in 4th position. Excuse me. And then the final game of the Championship results for the weekend, Watford won 1-0 away to Wigan, but they had to wait till 3 minutes before the end of the game to get a goal from João Pedro to win that one, to get 3 points. So, yeah, top of the tables, Burnley, 35 points. Blackburn's in second with 33. QPR, Sheffield United, Norwich and Swansea are all in the playoff areas. In the relegation zone in the Championship, it's Coventry City, Huddersfield Town and West Bromwich Albion. So that's what's going on in that league at the moment. I'm going to jump into League One. There was a couple of mad games in League One this weekend. Most notably at the Valley for Charlton Athletic. Charlton was playing at home to Ipswich Town, who had the best away record in the league. The game finished 4-4. It was absolutely insane. There was 4 goals in injury time at the end of the game, which was absolutely crazy. So 4-4 in that game. That was probably the most mental game of the weekend as far as goals are concerned. Barnsley got a customary 2-0 win, as you'd expect, at home to Forest Green. Oxford continue their little mini revival at the moment. They won 3-1 away at Bolton, which was a bit of a shock result considering Bolton is in the playoffs at the moment. Cheltenham drew 0-0 with MK Dons. Derby got a much-needed victory against Bristol Rovers after a little bit to keep them in contention to try and get in the playoffs. They won 4-2. A hat-trick from McGoldrick in that game for Derby. Fleetwood won 3-0 against Accrington Stanley. Peterborough beat Cambridge 1-0. Port Vale beat Lincoln City 1-0. Portsmouth drew 1-1 with Shrewsbury Town. And Sheffield Wednesday beat Burton Albion 4-2. So that kept Sheffield Wednesday in 3rd place in the league. Wycombe drew 1-0 with Morecambe in the final game of the League One weekend's action. Top goal scorer is still John Clark-Harris at Peterborough with 11 goals. And Aaron Collins is still in second for Bristol Rovers with 9 goals. Top of the league still Plymouth with 38 points. 1 point behind in second is Ipswich Town. But Plymouth are playing against Exeter in a local derby. Devonshire derby, that's going to be mental, that game. There's probably going to be a bit of trouble, I should say. So, yeah, they're playing each other on Monday night. That's on Sky Sports. So if Plymouth win that, that'll push them 4 points clear of Ipswich in second. So I have to see what happens. But Exeter are having quite a good season as well. They're not too far outside getting in the playoffs. So should be an interesting game. I'm going to make a prediction on that one. I'll probably say I'll go with 2-1 to Plymouth in that game. But yeah, that was the roundup of the weekend's action. So like I say, Plymouth top, Ipswich second, playoff places in League One. You've got Sheffield Wednesday, Peterborough, Portsmouth and Bolton Wanderers. In the relegation zone in League One at the moment, it's MK Dons, Forest Green Rovers, Morecambe and Burton Albion. So that's how it stands in League One. Going into League Two, at the start of the day, Leyton Orient was top of the league and they was playing it up against Salford City, run by obviously the class of '92 Manchester United players, Beckham and, well, mainly Gary Neville, to be honest. So yeah, that's they lost though 1-0 to Leyton Orient. Goal from Smythe that kept Orient top of the league. Stevenage was playing away at Colchester. They not too far away actually from Leyton Orient's game, but they drew 1-0 with Colchester. AFC Wimbledon beat Harrogate Town 3-2. Barrow beat Crewe 2-0. Bradford drew 1-0 with Crawley Town. Doncaster Rovers won 1-0 against Gillingham. Hartlepool got a much-needed victory, coming from behind against Grimsby to win 2-1. Quite happy about that from the Scuddy perspective. Mansfield lost 5-2 at home to Swindon in a bit of a shock. Well, I don't know if it was that much of a shock. Both teams that pushed Mansfield outside of the playoff places and kept Swindon lying in fourth place, not far off the automatic promotion places. So a great win for Swindon away from home. Northampton had a little tiny bit of a dip at home to Newport, drawing 1-1. Stockport continue their little bit of a revival, beating Sutton United 3-0 at home. Goals from Wootton, Madden and Collar. Tranmere lost 2-0 at home to Carlisle. Carlisle on a bit of a mini revival as well. And then Walsall won 1-0 against Rochdale in the final game of League Two. So top goal scorers in League Two, it's Hoskins for Northampton with 12 goals. Just behind him in second for Bradford City is Cook with 10 goals. So that's what it's looking like in League Two. League Two, top of the table, still Leyton Orient. They're 3 points clear of Stevenage in second. So Orient's got 39, Stevenage has got 36, and Northampton's in third with 32 points. And then in the playoff places, you've got Swindon, Barrow, Bradford City, and Carlisle United. And then continuing in the relegation places at the bottom, it's Hartlepool and Colchester. So even though Hartlepool and Colchester Hartlepool got 3 points and Colchester picked up a point, it wasn't enough to lift them out of the relegation places. But they're not far away from getting out of safety. You've got Rochdale, Harrogate Town, Gillingham, all sort of only like a point or 2 points ahead of them. So it only takes a couple of wins. It could all change around. But that's what's going on. That's the review of the weekend's action. As I say, most notable games, crazy results in the Premier League. Brighton absolutely smashing Chelsea 4-1. Leeds pulling off a massive shock at Anfield, winning 2-1. And and some just absolutely crazy results at the weekend, to be fair, to be honest. But that's how it stands. And have a great week. I'm going to do another episode on Monday, which will be reviewing the week ahead's action, basically. Actually, I'll probably do that tonight, to be fair. Anyway, have a great week. Whoever team you support, I hope they get some good wins in for you over the next week or so. And bye for now. Oh, by the way, continue to like, subscribe, get all your friends and family interested as well. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.